Hey, so this is going to be kind of a vlog, I guess. So this morning I woke up, and the first thing that I usually do when I wake up is look at Facebook. I know that's pretty bad, but that's a habit that I'm in. I look at Facebook, the first thing I do in the morning. And what I saw actually kind of really shocked me, and I wasn't even sure it was true or real at first. There was a picture of Plymouth Rock, and someone had spray painted red squiggles all over it. And then come to find out that not only Plymouth Rock, but a lot of other monuments and locations and some artwork of other people's had actually been spray painted all in red paint. And the person who did it had no skills whatsoever. It looks like they didn't even practice on some cardboard. And it looked like there's some kids that live up the road that have to be like 10, 11, maybe 12 years old at the most that love to spray paint things all over the neighborhood, and it looked like about on their level, if not worse, so I think this had to have been a child that did this, or children, a gang of children. I don't know. If it's someone older, I would be really surprised just because of the quality of their work. And it's not art at all in any way. I do view a lot of graffiti and tagging as art. This was far from that. The thing I want to say is a couple months ago I wrote a little story on my blog that goes with this channel. I really neglect that blog, and the story is probably kind of confusing story, but it's about Plymouth Rock and what it means, and at the time I was trying to figure out what it means, and it's about disappointment in objects and symbols and landmarks. A lot of people feel disappointed by Plymouth Rock when they see it. A lot of people have a lot of baggage with Plymouth Rock, and I was just trying to personally figure out what it means to me. And at the time, I believe I said it meant home, but today, what I felt when I saw the graffiti on the rock, and I realized what Plymouth Rock really means to me, is it is the front door to our town. It is symbolically the front door of Plymouth. When I saw red spray paint on that rock, it made me feel like someone had come up and spray painted my front door of my house. And whether you live in a house or an apartment, or even if you're a student and you go to school and you have a locker, if someone was to come up and spray paint the door of your house, your apartment, your locker, the door of your car, someone was to come up and spray paint that, that's a personal insult to you. That door is representative of you to the world. And that's how I feel with Plymouth Rock, that rock is a representative of our town to the world. It is our front door. So it is like someone just came up and splashed red paint on our front door, and that was a little much. Why would these kids do that? Obviously they chose Plymouth Rock, other people's artwork, other monuments around town for some sort of attention. You know, they weren't spray painting lampposts and sidewalks and under the bridge. They went big. They went for it, and they obviously were seeking attention, getting on the news, getting talked about all over Facebook. That's what I think. How could we have prevented this to begin with? You know, other places in this country, they teach their history like you have American history, European history. They have local history for a year, which is why I started the reading list, which is why this is on the playlist for the reading list. I really think Plymouth should be having at least a year of local history. If other places that aren't even as historic as our town can spend an entire year focusing on their history to their children, why don't we do that? Maybe they're doing that now. They weren't doing that when I was in school. If they're doing that now, I don't know what else you could do to help children that don't value where they live. But I feel like if they just were shown maybe where they live is special. I mean, there's not that many towns, just regular towns, where people from all over the entire world travel. And they're traveling here to see that rock that these kids just spray painted. Do they realize that? I mean, how special it is where they live? It's special here. And that's not to say it's better than anywhere else, because I think anywhere you live, you should be learning to value and see the beauty of where you live. Maybe it's too late for these kids to value where they live. I mean, maybe they're too old now and they're not going to change their minds. There's adults that don't value the town. And I know there's lots of things that are not perfect about Plymouth or Plymouth's history, but there is a lot that is beautiful here. And there is a lot that is of value here. And we all live here together. We don't want to see your red scribbles when we go out for a walk. Nobody wants to see your red scribbles. Go find a bridge somewhere. Practice on some cardboard for a while. And then go find some bridge out in the woods to spray paint. So that's just an idea of something that could be done to maybe prevent this in the future. Obviously, there's always going to be graffiti. And I mean, there's also art, and then there's also graffiti. There's always going to be graffiti. There's graffiti back in ancient Rome. It's not something you can get rid of completely, but it doesn't make it okay. And you should know what to respect. You respect where people live. You don't spray paint on someone's front door. You don't spray paint on our rock, you know? You got to teach that to people, I guess. You have to teach that. It must not be obvious. One more thing. This town used to have an art show every year in a tent outside with bales of hay on the floor. And it was amazing. And it was easily accessible to anyone. It wasn't in some intimidating building off in the corner where you wouldn't even think it was. It wasn't for commercial reasons. This was just art for anyone to walk into and enjoy and see and experience. Maybe we should be having more things like that. More opportunities for enjoying art on the street. I don't know if that would help, but it would definitely make the town a better place.